Okay guys, I got the battery connected up on this 1962 Chevy Impala 2-door Sports Coupe that I'm going to pull out here and let it run a little bit because it's been, I'm just guessing, maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks. I'm guessing I got sidetracked on the 75 C10 Sky and of course Ruby. Got new carpet and stuff. It's been a while since I've started it, I guess is my point. So let's see what happens. I'm going to give it a few pumps. At least the battery's good. Boy, I sure do like this car, and it is hot. Golly, it is hot. Not just hot, it's humid, really humid. But that wasn't hard at all. I had Brian, who is GM Space Tim 38, rebuild the carburetor on this car. Man, it runs good. Let us sit here and warm up and get the juices flowing, as I like to say, for just a minute. I don't want to smoke up the garage with exhaust, but at the same time, I don't want to move it until the juices are top of the motor and all that other stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Got this 59 Impala steering wheel on here in case you're a new subscriber or a new person just stumbled across my video. 59 Impala steering wheels are my favorite steering wheels. One of my favorites that Chevrolet's ever made. 59 Impalas. It's just, I just like it, and it's blue and it matches this car. But I still have the original steering wheel. I've just always liked 59 Impala steering wheels, 59 or 60. They're the same. Okay, I'm gonna move it out here and let it warm up just a little bit and run it. Been meaning to drive it more and more, but the weather has just not been cooperating around here. And also, I've just been sidetracked with other vehicles. So let's let it sit here and run for just a minute. Good thing about this car is you can pull the key out of the ignition and open the trunk. Show you what it looks like while I've got it out here. I painted all this myself with splatter powder paint or whatever. I done this several years ago. I ordered this original type vinyl stuff for the trunk. I've got the spare tire and the jack too. I just haven't put it in yet. Just thought I'd show you this. Well, hang on a minute. Okay, let me put this key back up in here before I drop it and lose it, because I'm that away. Oh. Okay. Show you the insides real quick. Got white seats. They did not come out with white seats. This car was born with the blue, with like blue and black stripes, best I can remember, from the factory. But I couldn't afford that. So I wound up trading around and got this here, and it matches the car good, the blue and the white, because the car is white. I was tickled to death to get this. I've had people tell me that they've never made the white vinyl, upholstery, but it come in a kit and it fit right on here perfect. But I will tell you, it's easy to get dirty. I gotta clean this again, but just looking at it seems to me like it gets dirty. What else am I going to show you? Oh, I'm going to show you hang on just 1 minute. Okay, this is what I was going to show you. It's a 283. I've been going around trying to find somebody that would be interested in cleaning the motor, the engine compartment, the engine, respraying it, the correct Chevy orange, and just doing a decent job. It doesn't have to be perfect, just doing a pretty good, decent job on it. I've got 2 or 3 people in mind that might be interested in doing it. I'm not capable. I just can't do it. It's just, I'm like, what's the name of that movie? Maybe it's Clint Eastwood. I know I've mentioned this before, and I can't remember, Dirty Harry or something. I think it's it, Dirty Harry. Clint Eastwood, a man's got to know his limitations, and that's one of my limitations. I could never paint it to look as good as what somebody else that does this for a living does. But it's a 283, and I put power brakes on it. It's got power steering from the factory, but the power brakes I put on after I got the car. And it's a good running old car. I've had the motor rebuilt probably around 1984. The original 283 that the car was born with, and it's got the Powerglide in it. Original Powerglide. And that would be cast iron, by the way, not aluminum. I have done a lot to the car. I've probably owned this car since maybe 1983 or 84, something like that. Just a quick story on this car. My longtime subscribers have heard this story probably 2 or 3 times, but every time I get it out, I can't help but mentioning how I acquired this car. This car was bought brand new in 1962 by my uncle, who was I'll make it short and sweet, who was a traveling insurance salesman for Life of Georgia Insurance Company. And he bought this car brand new on Sand Mountain, Alabama. And he drove the wheels off this car. He went everywhere, several states, Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, just everywhere in this car. This car's got thousands and thousands and thousands of miles on it. And when he first bought the car, I was visiting my grandmother. As you know, I'm an older guy, so I was 5 years old in 1962. So I was, as I said, Sand Mountain, keep that in mind, Sand Mountain. I was playing in the sand. My grandmother and grandfather lived on a farm, and I was over there visiting, and I had all my little cars, little trucks and all that stuff. I've always played with cars and trucks, toys and stuff, and I was in the sand making roads and stuff like that with my cars and trucks. Well, I seen this car coming down from far off. My grandparents, as I said, lived way out in the country, and you could see a vehicle coming from afar, and it pulled into the driveway there in the sand. They just had a grass driveway, sand. So they pulled in, and I seen that car coming, and I thought, man, that is the prettiest car I've ever seen in my life. Of course, it's brand new 62 Impala, and pulled in the driveway, and I was just surprised it was my uncle, and his name was Uncle Arnold. But anyway, I run up to him, and he had a clipboard, and he was writing on the steering wheel something on the clipboard, and he told me, I went up to him, I said, Uncle Arnold, I said, that is the prettiest car I've ever seen in my life. And I said, when you get tired of this car, would you save it for me? I said, I'd like to have it. And I didn't know it, but my grandmother had come out from the house behind out the screen door. They didn't have air conditioning or anything, and back then, and my grandmother had come up behind me, and she said, she heard me say that I thought that's the prettiest car I'd ever seen in my life. And so when my uncle got the car completely wore out, my grandmother bought it from him, and she saved this car for me. Saved it for me. I couldn't believe it. So around 1983 or 84, as I said, she called me one day. I live in Tennessee, and she called me one day and said, son, do you still want this 62 Impala? And I said, oh, yes. I said, I want this car. I said, what would you have to have for it? I called her Granny. As I said, they just lived way out out there on a farm. There wasn't a whole lot of neighbors, nothing, just way out there doing the best they can with what they had. And I said, please, I want to buy the car from you. And she said, no. And I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I want to buy the car from you. Please, let me know what you got to have for it. She said, well, we'll talk about it when you get here. She said, if you want it, I wish you'd come and get it. So I gathered up. I'm not a smart feller. I mean, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a body guy. I'm not really good at anything. So I gathered up what little tools I had. I'm not rich, with a bunch of expensive tools or anything like that. But I gathered up everything I had because it was going to be about 2.5 or 3 hour journey to get back home to Tennessee. So I finally got to my grandmother's house, and I got off work, on a Friday, and drove over there, and spent the night there at their house. And I kept trying to ask my grandmother, what do you want for the car? Because I was wanting to buy it. I was going to go to the bank and take out a loan or whatever it took to get this car. Because she said a lot of people, she had it in a garage, but a lot of people kept stopping in wanting to buy the car. So I told her, I said, I'll buy it from you. Because let me tell you a little bit about my grandparents. They were rich. They were rich with love and had, a great love for one another and good work ethics. And I mean, they struggled, is what I guess what I'm trying to say. They didn't have any money. They didn't have any. And they raised their own food, and they didn't have indoor plumbing. I mean, there was no toilets, nothing. They had a kitchen sink, but they didn't have, if you had to go to the restroom, you went outside to the outhouse, or that's just the way they lived, and that's the way they lived their whole lives. So, I guess the point I'm trying to tell you is the sacrifice that they made for me was very great. They could have had money for this car, but instead they saved it for me. I guess that's a point I'm trying to make. So, man, this is a hard story to tell. But anyway, I kept asking my grandmother and grandfather what they want for the car, and finally my grandmother said, give me $1. And, I don't know, I was just in tears. And every time I tell this story, I just about get in tears just telling it, just remembering how they lived. But anyway, they had another car, by the way, that my same uncle had bought a 73 Impala, and he wore it out, so my grandmother got it. So I gave her $1 for the car, and I wound up with the car. But in the same circumstances as them, I was married, just had a son, and I married a woman that had a son previously. So there I was with a stepson, my son, and her, and myself. So times was pretty hard for us. I mean, I was struggling. So, and I have been for years, just struggling, where that's the reason I haven't got a whole lot done to the car. I've had it repainted back in the late 80s, I guess, 85, 86, somewhere around there. Had the motor rebuilt because it was slap wore out. But, I traded around for the interior, and I guess my point is I got these wheels several years ago, and had it lowered and stuff, but I'm saying I haven't put much money into this car because times have been kind of tough in my life a few times, and I'm sure they have been for you. And so there's been times I've had to sell things in order to pay bills. So I never did put money into this one because I never did want to sell it. I'd put money into other vehicles that I was playing with or had or whatever, and thinking that, well, when I get ready to sell it, it's going to help me. So, but this car, I've been very hesitant. But now, I mean, I'm at this point in my life where I don't mind putting a little bit into it. So it's took me, I guess what I'm trying to say, it's took me however long I've had this car, 40 45, 48 years, I guess, to get it to this shape. But it's all original. It's original color, the original blue. Dash has never been painted. The radio still works. There's a few things on the car that doesn't work. It's got one of those idiot lights for the temperature and hot. It doesn't work. So, but you know, I've had the interior done. I've had the headliner done in light blue. Had new carpet put in, but it's been a gradual over all these years progress. So I've bought new mirrors for it because the other ones were pretty sad shape. It's got the bow tie in it. That's original to a 62. I don't mean to repeat myself for all my long-time subscribers, but this is in case you just stumble across this channel. I put the grill guard on it, the hood pull. The hood pull is from a 61. 62s were kind of plain, but the 61s had the bow tie. So I opted for the 61 because it looks better. I put the 327 emblems on it, the 283 is just the V with a red, white, and blue. 327 has got the cross flags, and I just thought it looked better. You know, it's all just a matter of taste, and I'm not trying to deceive anybody. I just thought it looked better. So this car did not come out with the passenger side door mirror, but I put this on it with the bow tie. They're correct ones, and let me tell you, they're quite expensive. Anything for these cars is expensive, real expensive. This car came with the antenna in the back instead of being on the front fender. I've had like I'm gonna say maybe 12 or 13 in my lifetime of Chevy Impalas, some of them being super sports. But, you know, and they were all in junk condition. I mean, just junk cars, except maybe one or two. So that's where I've had some parts over the years, but I'm just about sold out. But I put these bumper guards on the back. This is the way a lot of times they just have one bumper guard, but I like the four back here in the back. To me, it just kind of dresses it up in between the parking lots, air brake lights, parking lots. These emblems are real expensive too. Oh my goodness, they are so proud of those emblems. Sheesh, I think the one on the front was, and I've had it on here for several years, but I think it was way over $100 just for that emblem. So, as I said, I've just been kind of piddling with it over these years since I know I told you I was married to a woman that had a son previously. We were divorced, and I still had the car and kind of struggled. It's been a struggle. Let me just say that. It's been a struggle. Everybody has struggles, and that's the reason I haven't put much into the car for the longest time, for many, many years. All I would do, you know, would be a little bit here, a little bit there, because I wanted to make sure I had enough money to pay bills. Does that make any sense? But I've always paid my bills. One way or another, I would pay my bills. So anyway, I just always like 62s. I like all cars and all trucks. Let me say that. Fords, Dodge, Plymouth, you know, Pontiac, I like them all. They all have characteristics that I really like. Like on this car, for example, it looks like a convertible top when it's really a hard top. But I mean, I just thought that was pretty cool, where it looked like a convertible. Just little things like that, you know. Anyway, I've talked, golly, I've talked a long time. I'm just now looking at my timer. I get carried away. But my grandparents, let me say this, my grandparents have passed away years ago. And every time I get this car out, for some reason, a lot of times I wind up telling the same story because it makes me think of them and how hard that they struggled when they could have had things a little bit easier. If they could have sold it to a stranger, you know, there wasn't nothing I could do if they had. So, I mean, I'm nothing special. So, I mean, but I guess what I'm saying, for them to save me this car for all those years until I was old enough to really appreciate it. I mean, when she called and asked me that day, you know, I just always loved this car, and she knew that. So, you know, God bless her and my grandfather both. So anyway, I just thought I'd tell you this story. It's not something I intended on doing. I was just going to show you I was doing a cold start and showing you the car. But as you can see, when I get this car out, it brings memories just rush back in my head. So I guess I consider y'all my friends. So I just wanted to explain to you how I got the car and what it is to me, or what it means to me. It means everything to me. So there it is, sitting there just purring like a little kitten. So anyway, I hope y'all's having a great day. I'm sorry I'm long-winded. I truly am. I get carried away sometimes, and I apologize for that. But if you would, I sure do wish you would subscribe to my channel, Primer Is Best. Primer Is Best. I'm on Instagram, Primer Is Best, and Facebook, Primer Is Best. But I've started another channel too that I've dedicated to Chevy trucks, and that's the name of my YouTube channel. By the way, it should be easy to remember, Chevy Trucks. 2 words, Chevy Trucks. If you would subscribe to it, leave me a comment, let me know you subscribed. I sure would be grateful for that too. It means a lot to me. I'm just trying to make more friends, I guess, and a lot of people's into Chevy trucks, and you know, I am too. I like Chevys and GMCs really well. I like all trucks, but I'm mostly into Chevys and GMCs. So hope you can appreciate that, and I'm not down in anybody's car or truck whatsoever. I'm just saying that's my interest, is Chevys and GMC trucks. So anyway, I appreciate you watching the video. I'm sorry if your ears are bleeding because I talk so much, but that's just how I am sometimes. My wife, Mrs. PIB, says I am a professional talker. That's pretty funny. Anyway, her ears get to bleeding too. I talk so much. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I appreciate you listening, and I'll catch you in the next video. Please like and subscribe. Let me know that you did, and y'all have a good, blessed day. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.